All right, good morning. I hope you're doing well. It's Wednesday, and right this morning, a quick one. I'm looking for the euro pound to attack this equal high for this landing session and possibly move into somewhere up here above that high as well, because I think they want to retrace deeper relative to this range here. All right, so that's what I'm trading this morning. I actually woke up. You can see I got an execution in here. I woke up quite early this morning and I was looking at the market to see what I can trade. But because I said I was gonna start at 8, I couldn't kind of start it. So I've been up since 5 o'clock. Okay, so I was executing here on that down candle, and it could have gone as low as this one, but still valid to come up here, right? And it's just an optimal trade entry where we had this impulse leg here and then price retrace. So I'm expecting price to go and attack this high, which is relative to that. And then based on the range that we have in here, especially with yesterday's candle, which was able to close above the Monday candle, that gave me more confidence in anticipating this move here. I have doubts about which pair to place order. 15 pairs. Okay. With that, you will have to kind of. Good morning. You will have to kind of make a decision on which pair to trade, because most of the time the pairs are going to do almost the same thing, right? It's just a matter of preference. Okay, it's just a matter of preference. What you like is what you trade. So over time, I know you're new in trading, but over time you will get some experience, and with that experience you will know what pairs to trade and what pairs not to trade. Like for me, example, I don't like trading like the dollar yen, dollar Swiss, and dollar CAD. Okay, on a personal live account, I will not trade them. On a demo account, yes, I will trade them, but on a live account, I will not trade them. Okay, so you have to know what pair you want to trade, and that will come to you based on your experience with those pairs. Okay, so I cannot give you what pairs you want to focus on. That is something you have to come to a conclusion with, to determine which pairs you want to trade. All right, so maybe go through price and then find what you want to trade. Now I can give you some advice, right? Which is, I find trading these four and their crosses much easier, and then maybe you add gold, silver, oil, Bitcoin, and other stuff. But when it comes to currencies, I like trading these four pairs and their crosses. So these four and the crosses. So euro, pound, euro, New Zealand, euro, Aussie, pound, New Zealand, pound, Aussie. Those pairs, right? And then you add gold, silver, oil, Bitcoin if you want to. Okay. What is my bias on euro? I am actually not touching euro because the current dealing range that is trading in, I don't like it. So I'm on the sidelines on euro. I don't have any bias on it right now. Based on the daily time frame and based on what the dollar is doing, I think it can continue going lower. Okay, for it to go higher, they will have to come and close above this high. Right, they will have to come and close above this high before we are bullish. So because we had such a large range day last week, which was the 14th, I think that was Thursday. Because of that large range day, it kind of moved price into some sort of a consolidation. So I don't have anything on euro, unfortunately. I don't like this. Maybe if it trades somewhere up here, then I might be interested in looking for a continuation to the downside. But where it is now, I don't like it, and I don't have any kind of opinion on what it's going to do. Another trade that I am watching this morning is this pair here. I actually missed the entry. You can see it missed my entry. I had a sell limit there and it didn't take me in, so I just manually went in on this one. What I'm anticipating on this is a move back to somewhere here with partial below these lows here. Right, so I'm gonna take partial below this low. Low resistance in here. That's why I'm gonna take partial, and then I'll let the rest run to see if they can get here, basically optimal trade entry. And like I said, I missed the actual entry. It didn't trigger me in for some reason. So you can look for sell on the pound New Zealand as well, looking for continuation to the downside. Next time I'll try and maybe on Friday, if I do see the setup, which you can see the time window that I like taking the entries, right? We are within that time window between 7:30 and 9. So if I do see the setup like this, maybe I'll send it in that new group chat, which is the London setups. If you are new, okay, I created a group chat where I'll be posting setups that we do see during the London session. So I've posted the link. You can join that link, and then obviously when I see the setup, I'll post it in there for the London session. Okay, I forgot to do that this morning. I have to get into the habit of doing it. Another trade that you can look at is this one here. I'm expecting that to also continue going lower, right? And it can come up to this imbalance in here, right? Which is within, let me point it right there, like this one on the 1 hour time frame. I think that's where price is going to trade to as well. So if you do get any sell, anticipate price to go down here. Now once you get there, maybe, right, based on what I'm seeing on the higher time frame, it might continue going higher. Okay, it might continue going higher. So be careful, because it's bullish, it's not bearish. This is just a retracement for the time being. Same thing with this one here. It's actually bullish. We are looking for higher prices, but today it seems that it wants to go into some form of a pullback. So I'm counter trending the pullback, and then I'll look for a buy to continue going up. My favorite one that I'm looking for a buy is this one here. If it does get there, right down here, last week that's where I was anticipating a buy, and price didn't get there last week. This is where I wanted to buy, and price didn't get there. So I'm looking for that buy going into today, if it does give me. If not, then whenever it gives me, I'm gonna take it. All right, so those are the quick trades that I have that I wanted to bring your attention to before I start going through questions or the topic for the day, higher time frame bias. So let's see if Europound will take us above that equal high. I think it should do that. As soon as it does it, make sure if you're taking it, make sure you take partial profit. Move your stop loss to break even. Wherever you took it, move your stop loss to break even, and then watch it to see if it can reach for this. I personally think it will go deeper relative to this range here. Okay, it will go deeper relative to this high and that low. Okay, it might go up to the optimal trade entry, so you can leave a partial on for that. All right, like I said, right, if you did watch last week, I mentioned that between 8:30 and I like what is done now. Okay, they took out sell side liquidity here. All right, and then buy side, whilst we have equal highs sitting above there. So on the lower time frame, that's a really good confirmation for a push to the upside. So I'm kind of excited that we will get for this equal high. I think Monday, those of you that were with me, we were looking for dollar CAD to trade to this level, right? Yesterday it almost got there, but it failed to touch it. So I anticipated that they will come back again. So I did not touch my trade. I did not do anything to it. As a matter of fact, I took another entry yesterday in here with this, which I'm gonna talk about when I come back. Okay, so between 8:30 and 9, you're just gonna have a static screen, right? I'm gonna just stick one of the trades on the screen, maybe the pound New Zealand. I'll stick that on the screen, and then I'll leave that there. So when I come back, then I will start moving the screen, because I have to take my son to school. So if you have anything that you need to do, you can go and do it. From 8:30 I'll be off the screen. You will not hear anything, and then I'll come back at exactly 9, and then we will continue. When I come back, I will talk about how to determine the high time frame bias, because it's something that a lot of people don't actually do. They don't pick their bias from the high time frame. So I'll use that time to talk about the high time frame, so it can help you to make good trading decisions in terms of the higher time frame. Okay, so for the meantime, if you have any question, I think I've got the next 13 minutes before I go and take him to school. So if you have any question, feel free to ask, and then when I come back, we will continue. All right, if you have any question, feel free, ask. When I come back, we will continue. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in on this 5 minutes chart. And we should see it kind of move away from this order block here. Turn this thing on. We should see it move from this order block here. And aim for that high. If it does retrace, I like this imbalance in here. I would rather it doesn't come down here, but if it does, I like this as a long. To take us up there. I'll be back at exactly 9 o'clock. So I'll be leaving in the next 10 minutes, or the next 11 minutes, and then I'll be back at 9:30. So if you look at my local time here, it says 8:20, right? So in the next 10 minutes, I'll go away, and then I'll be back at 9. Okay, sorry, I think I overlooked your question. I overlooked your question. Which trade manager are you using? The trade manager that I use, which I bought it, right? It's from the company is called what's the company again? investsoft.eu. I'm gonna put that here if you want to. That's the company. If you go to, actually let me put it in there in the chat. That's the one I'm currently using. Are you not moving? There you go. This is the trade manager that I use. Okay, if you go to that website, you will see they have a trade manager, and then if you want to use it, you can. That's what I personally use. Like, I bought it almost 2 years ago. So 2020 in June 2020 is when I bought it. Okay, it's moving, so hopefully we should get there by before 9. Now, when you do join this kind of live session, okay, it's not because it's me, okay? So maybe you might, right, everybody's different, right? But some of you might find the way I look at price interesting. Therefore, if I do give any trading advice or trading opportunity, you want to over leverage because it's me. Don't do that. Okay, if you're gonna be here with the live sessions, you're still gonna trade the way you trade, right? So it's not because I'm thinking, okay, price is gonna come up here and your normal risk is, let's say, 0.50, because it's me and we are doing a live session, you're gonna go in with a 2%. Okay, don't do that here, because I can get it wrong, everybody can get it wrong. And I don't want you to maybe the day I get it wrong, you're gonna put too much lot size on your account and you blow your account, and I don't want that. So make sure that if you're gonna take anything that I'm showing you, which I'm gonna always show you with a demo account, if you want to take it on the live, that's entirely up to you. Make sure you don't over leverage. Okay. Okay, I'm still here. I'm just watching it with you guys. We've got 3 minutes and then I'm gonna disappear, and I think dollar CAD can trade up into, it can go as low as this level, but I'm gonna get out here. Okay, push that there. That's exactly what I want to get out. But it can trade all the way up to that low. I mean this imbalance in here. Let's go and check the why they did not trigger me in on this one. I have no idea. Right, the sell limit was exactly, I think I should have placed it a little bit lower. All right, they've created another down candle in here, so that should also hold. That should also hold and then go up there. But this one, it's a different it's a different level of trading where you have to be 100% dialed in. If I'm gonna do this, I will not do a live session. Like if I want to buy here, leave my stop loss there, targeting this high, and if I want to buy this one, leaving my stop loss here. I think we have a swing low in here, so, and then still target that high, right? I will not do a live session because this lower time frame is very intense. You might wanna just be focused and do your thing, right? Okay, so it's 8:30. I am going to go and I'll be back in the next 30 minutes, so you're free to go and do what you want to do. Okay, and then I'll be back. So I'm gonna leave the pound New Zealand trade on because that has got room to the downside, so I'm gonna leave this one on, and like I said, partial below this low. You can partial out here as well, or there, or here, because they are all lows. All right, I'll see you soon. Okay, I'm back. Right, what a lovely move that was. Let's go and check this one. Okay, that also did some incredible stuff over there. It's almost there. All right, let's look at dollar CAD. Okay, dollar CAD is misbehaving again. All right, no problem. We will let dollar CAD do what it does best. That's not nice to see. Check the why you're not gonna go that low. I'm not sure why. I should have taken partial. Let's take partial. 9.7. So 9.7. That'll give me 9.7.836.48. So let's take 48.918. Alright, I'm gonna move my stop loss to break even. First of all, let me get rid of this sell limit because it didn't trigger me. And I'm gonna move that to break even. All right, let's go and check the pound Aussie as well. That's also almost there. Euro New Zealand, as I thought, they're keeping that in a sideways market. Alright, I think this would be a good opportunity for New York session. Yeah, this would be a good opportunity for New York session. So I'd like somewhere in here for a buy. Let's do this, and we're gonna target this high into that one. So I'm gonna post this one for that. So the idea is we are targeting this equal high here and that high. Alright, so that'll be something to watch for the New York session. Pound New Zealand, I've taken partial. I'm gonna let the rest run and see how far it gets, if it can get to this old high here. The dollar CAD is playing up, but I still fancy that low there. And Euro Pound, it's almost there. It's doing that business of playing when it gets to a high. Let's check the 3 minutes chart. It might retrace here. I would rather it doesn't, but it can, and then screen for that high. But if it does, make sure you take most of the profit off. Right, we're just gonna keep scanning the market, and I will talk the last 30 minutes. I'll use the last 30 minutes to talk about the topic for the day, how to determine high time frame bias. Alright, so let's keep watching price. Bitcoin, I think we might get a continuation to the downside for Bitcoin in the coming days, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but it should reject and continue going lower. So if you do like to trade Bitcoin, look for continuation to the downside. Same thing applies to Ethereum. I think that is also gonna go lower. So if you trade it, look for continuation to the downside. I think it might trade up here first. So watch here and then that level up there before anticipating the sell. Okay, so look for a bit of a push up. From this imbalance in here, right? Look for, that was nice. Look at that on the 3 minutes chart. Low, high, low after hitting this level. Right, after hitting that level right there, and then it causes a breaking market structure, pulls back to a really nice gap right here, and then it just scream higher, equal high. That was nice. I wish I was up at the time. That was 4 a.m. I was sleeping. Go back to dollar CAD. This thing is just taking too long. US 30. Let me get rid of that. Yesterday I got a short up here. I think based on the higher time frame, it's gonna continue going lower. Okay, based on the higher time frame, it's gonna continue going lower, and I believe that this might be the high of the week. Okay, that high from yesterday, I believe that might be the high of the week, and then it might continue going lower from here. So if you'd like trading the indices, especially I think from the weekly perspective, I like seeing all these trades on that chart. I don't want to see it here either. I don't want to see it here either. I only want to see it down there. Okay, so based on the weekly, I think the best one okay, this one is okay-ish because it took our previous week high. So that right there, okay, that's a previous week high. So that's liquidity. Hold high, run. It couldn't even close above it, and it's causing a rejection. All right, so I think it might be the high of the week. The rest, if you go to S&P 500, that is a pullback to this old low here, and I think it will come back down. So use the imbalance that I gave as targets down here as your draw on liquidity. All right, so you can look for a sell like this one. Let's drop down to 5. Yeah, I don't think I would like to see it come back up again, but if it does, you can sell this one here. Right, you can sell that and just leave your stop loss above that high. Right, and then expect a continuation to the downside. And then the Nasdaq, that's also showing a retracement based on the weekly time frame here. Oops, not that. That's showing a retracement into this area, right? So that's also a potential rejection to come back and attack this equal low. I like this one more because it retraced into this range relative to previous week high and this week's low. It retraced to that range, and then after getting there, there's big drop, right, on the 1 hour or 15 minutes. That is a good sign of potential continuation to the downside. So watch this auto block here. Watch that auto block there, and then look for continuation to the downside. If it trades back into that low, you want to sell short. Okay, so your question: if you see an imbalance and an auto block, which would you prefer to take your entry on? I will take it on the imbalance. I'll take it on the imbalance. For personal reasons, I'll take it on the imbalance. I like trading imbalances. Imbalances gives you precision. Auto blocks gives you the auto blocks is going to give you an entry, but imbalances gives you precision. If you're able to find the right imbalance, right, then it's going to give you precision, like this one here. Notice that I said it could trade back to this imbalance and then go higher. So this one gives you precision, whilst the other blocks gives you an entry. So if I go into maybe a 5-minute chart, 15, yeah, I think in between, maybe 10. Nah, there must be another block there somewhere. There is. Okay, so you might see this and you want to trade that auto block, right? But I don't see that. I like to go in and then dig deep and find an imbalance within that auto block, and then I want to trade that. Okay, so that's where I would want to go long, but you might want to go long using this as the auto block. So maybe you traded this one here as your entry. You traded this one here as your entry, but I would prefer to trade that as my entry. All right, so for personal reasons, and me spending years on the chart, I prefer trading the imbalance to auto blocks. Okay, let's go and check that. It's almost there. Did I take partial? Let me go and check if I did take partial. Oh wow, I didn't take partial. The partial I took was like nothing. How much was that partial again? Four, 8, 9, 1, 8. There we go. Now I've taken partial. Pound Aussie, that's another entry right there. Alright, a retracement to this. Okay, so this is another one, right? You can trade this as your entry because it trades back to that auto block, right? But what I would do is I would rather go inside that and then find an imbalance and then trade that. So maybe I would like to go show somewhere here. Okay, we're doing the same thing. I just like precision. You might want to get an entry, so you get an entry here, and I will look for an entry there. But we are all trading the same thing. You're trading the order block, I'm trading the imbalance within the order block. But if you go into the high time frame, it's the same thing. You're trading order blocks. But that's another entry for continuation to the downside. Let's go back to Euro Pound. Okay, so if you took that Euro Pound trade, right, you should be taking some profit at that level. Okay, make sure you take partial profit. And then preferably put your stop loss to break even. So if it comes back down, at least you've got something of that trade. But I think it might go a little bit more higher. This pair is crazy, it can retrace, right? So just bear that in mind. Euro Pound likes to retrace quite a lot after going above highs. So because it's a previous day's high, it can cause a retracement. If it starts retracing, I think on a 15 minutes time frame, there is a gap down here. These ones are no more valid. There's a gap down here. It can retrace back into that and then resume going high again. So you can highlight that and look for continuation. I'm going to check the dollar CAD. This is taking forever. It's so annoying. Okay. Let's look at the majors and see if there's anything popping. Okay, let's talk about Aussie and New Zealand, right? It's gonna resume going lower from check the 1 hour time frame. Check the dollar index. think dollar index today, all right, today might be a buy, but a down day. It's gonna be something like this. All right, today might end up being a candle like this, and then tomorrow it will scream back up again. All right, so if that's the case, what can end up happening is that Aussie can trade up in here. I'm sorry, that's not Aussie. New Zealand can trade back up in here relative to this high to that low. So if you want, you can do this high to that low and sell short optimal trade entry. So somewhere up here, yeah, somewhere up here, you sell short and then hold on to it for continuation to the downside, because it's bearish. It's just retracing, right? I think it's gonna trade down here. So let's do this and do that. Let's do that. Okay. So maybe in here, you start watching it from there. Okay. Because of this imbalance, start watching it from there. You can set two sells. Okay, one in here and one above that high, leaving your stop here, and then expecting an expansion to the downside to continue the downtrend. I will target this equal low, but partial out there. All right, so you can take a sell here. If you bear with me, let me go and check my dollar CAD, because it's almost going to that TP. Okay, I'm just gonna set an alert on that, on a get notification, because I have it on a different account. Crossing down, great. There you go. Back to New Zealand. Okay, so it's gonna trade up in there. Okay, so you can set two sells here and then there, and then expect price to continue going lower. Like I mentioned, dollar index is looking like it might give another down candle, which it's a buy day, but it's a buy for not you, not me. It's a buy for quote unquote smart money, right? They are buying here and then went up, they're buying in here, so it's gonna go up again. So you want to set yourself up for a continuation on the foreign currencies. So these two are my favorite ones to be selling short. With Aussie, this high to that low, just sell OTE. I like 70.5. I like 70.5 with a stop above that, and then targeting here. Right, so I'll take partial below this low, and then I'll let the rest run. Okay, let's this one. So that's that. I'm gonna post it. And then you do the same thing for New Zealand. There's two of them, like I mentioned. This one, this range here, and then that range. So you can sell short here for your first, or sell above that high if it gets there, because I'm thinking it probably might not get there. So like this low. Okay, it has overshadowed the other one. And you can go as low as this equal low as well, depending on how crazy the dollar moves higher. So that's what you're looking for. All right. So that's what I'm expecting on this. If you've not joined the Telegram for the London session, do yourself a favor. I think I posted the link. I'm gonna post it again. Do yourself a favor and join it. So that when I share that trade, you can participate in it. So those would be the two that I would love to sell short. The other two, I'm gonna leave them. Okay, so pound and euro, I'm not gonna touch them. Okay, let's go back to this. Let's go to the pound Aussie, because I did like the imbalance. Yeah, I like this one. On the 15 minutes, this one looks nice. So that's also a sell. And target. We coming off from this one, so down here. But also keep an eye if it decides to go into deeper retracement. That's where to watch. Change this color to red. If it decides to go to deeper retracement, that's the level to watch. All right, but on the 15 minutes, enter short there, and you're targeting this imbalance, which is within that one. Let me zoom in. Okay, let's go back. See if there's anything on that one. Nope. Euro Swiss. Yes, I see what you're saying, but we are not there yet. It's within this one, right? 1.7514. $1.7154. Yeah, that's where it's bouncing up from. But look, based on what I shared, with you, I think last week during the live session, right? Not on YouTube, but the private session that we had. What did I say? That if we do have run on stops and imbalance is being left, let's go into the 1 hour. That's a 1 hour. Okay, when we have a run on stop and imbalance is being left, that's the ones they usually want to go for. Okay, so the level that you are showing me, it's a gap, but it's just a bounce. It's not a level that I think price is going to move away from. It's just going to be a bounce. So you might want to find a level that price took out stops and then left an imbalance. That's the gap you want to identify. Okay, so go back and then identify that. I'm not going to do that for you. You go back and do that. Okay, you probably might not even dip into it, and then it'll fall down again. Let's go to dollar CAD. Dollar CAD. Finery. I'm excited for that trade, right? Okay, so let me use this opportunity to talk about it because I anticipated it and it has done it, so I can talk about it. Yesterday, I did a live session in the morning, and I was doing the live session. I started at 9:30. That's the private session that I do. And when I was doing the session, price was here, in somewhere in here, and I was telling them that this move here, okay, in my opinion, or this low here, in my opinion, is an engineered low. Why? Because price has absolutely no reason to move away from here, right? If we drop down to the 15 minutes time frame, if it did hit this gap here and then it went up, then yes, it's got every reasons to go up. But the fact that it did not hit this gap and then it went up, because there's no, quote unquote PD array. There's no PD array in here for price to hit and go up. So the fact that it did go up here whilst on the H4, because the H4 is where the narrative is coming from, right? Whilst the H4 has placed in this run above this high and then a breakdown and this pulling back, the narrative is bearish to attack this low here. Okay, but for relative strength wise, we had the we had the CAD and the dollar being strong yesterday, So because of that, it's gonna stay sideways. So if it's gonna stay sideways, then this rally is a suspect rally. It's just going up to do what? To take out stops, and then it will come back and attack this low, because there's no reason why price should rally from here. If you look on the H4, it might seem, okay, if you look on the H4, it might seem like it's moving from this imbalance. Okay, it might seem that it's moving from this imbalance, but it's not. The actual imbalance is, if you take this H4, right, go to the lower time frame, it gives you this 1 hour big range, right? And then if you break it down to the 15 minutes, you can say that the imbalance that you're seeing on the H4 is actually this small one there, right? So that's where price is supposed to trade to. So if it did trade to that and then it rallied, then that is justifiable, because price moved away from a fair value gap, and price doesn't need to come back down here. But the fact that it didn't do that, this rally was all a suspect rally, and it's going to come back and attack that low, and that's what it's done. And I don't know why you're not taking me off of that trade. I'm going to reload, because that's what I did last time, and I took another trade. Right, it's gone. Okay, so I think tomorrow I'll do a live session with them. This afternoon I'll do a live session with them, and they will see the importance of understanding where price actually moves away from. Because if price does not move away from a level, I use a level, but the right terminology would be, according to ICT, a PD array. If price does not move away from a PD array, then that move is suspect, right? Price is gonna come back and attack that. Okay. Help me thank my wife. She just brought me some tea. Okay. Let me check. Someone sent me an image. Long. I just said it, that the level that you're looking at, okay, the level that you've marked out, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, this one, there's nothing wrong with that. You can take it because it's still optimal trade entry. Provided your stop loss goes below this low. Okay, if you leave your stop loss anywhere in here, we still have a gap down here. So what happens if it goes there? Right, if your stop loss, if you're buying long here and you're gonna leave your stop loss there, what's gonna happen? I like the fact that they've left it go high because it's gonna come back up. But if you're buying long here as optimal trade entry and you leave your stop loss here, don't you think it can still take you out and still be valid to go higher? Yes, it can. All right, so where your stop loss is wrong, if you're gonna place your stop loss, should be below here, because there's still a gap down here that price can still go for before going higher. So I wouldn't leave my stop loss based on what you've sent me. I wouldn't leave my stop loss below there. All right, so there's nothing wrong with the setup because we are looking for higher prices, but absolutely something wrong with your stop loss placement. Okay, so the pound New Zealand did finally touch the level I was looking for, partial. Now that is enough for the day. Okay, you should be happy with that, and then you leave the rest and see how far they're gonna go. Okay, so your stop loss should be at break even. I think I'm gonna take another half of 24470 divided by 235. Right, yeah. Now I don't care what happens, it can do whatever it wants to do, so I can move on. Let's look at the euro pound. Now if I tell you I got an entry here, you probably wouldn't believe it. I was up at 5. I think my execution is gone because I'm not showing it, but I got in somewhere here. Okay, I think we've got 13 minutes left. Now I can talk about what I wanted to talk about. Now I do this on purpose, all right? I don't want to talk about what I want to talk about the first 5 minutes, and then you know, you don't want to sit through the boring part, right? I'm similar to ICT, right? You have to work a little bit if you want to learn, you have to work a little bit, right? You can't give stuff for you to walk away within 5 minutes of sitting down, right? You have to work a little bit, and I wait towards the end, and then I talk about things. So how to determine your high time frame bias. Let's use this H4. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it conceptually, and I'll show you the example, and then I'll let you go do the rest. Number one thing that traders struggle with is trying to find the bias, where price is going, right? Because once you know where price is going, the rest is to get an entry to go in the direction of where price is going. So your priority is basically to find where price is going. Most of the time, that's where you're supposed to be spending your time learning. That's where you're supposed to be spending most of your time back testing, and perfecting, because once you have your directional bias, the rest is going to be easy. Like the euro pound trade, right? Once I determine where price was supposed to go to, notice that everything that I was looking for did actually play out. Okay, even on the lower time frame, we started the session and I said price is going to come up here, right? If we go on to the 3 minutes chart, which was what I was using, every pullback to the down candle, I think I was on a 5. Yep, every pullback, we started here and I said this down candle should hold, this one should also hold, they should come back to this imbalance. And on the 3 minutes, when it did not take out this equal high, I dropped down and I said it will come back to this one and then go and attack that. Now, all this is possible because of this high. It's not because I was looking at price here. It's because in my mind, I'm thinking that price is gonna come up here for that equal high. Okay, so that is the draw on liquidity. So on your high time frame, that's where price is trying to reach for. So once you have where price is trying to reach for, then you apply these things, then it will work for you. So most of the people that study ICT, right, this is something that they're missing. They want to trade auto blocks, they want to trade imbalances, they want to trade stop rates and stuff like that without actually having context behind why they're doing it. Okay, you need to have context. Why should it work there? Why should it trade to that auto block and move away, right? So it's all based on this time frame or the higher time frame, whichever one you want to use, but there has to be a draw on liquidity. And once you have that draw on liquidity, then the lower time frames will work towards that. In terms of looking for maybe your expansion on a 1 hour, on a 4 hour, on a daily, all right, it comes from the higher time frame. So if you look in the Telegram that I post the draw on liquidity, most of you might think, how do I know all of that? I don't know. It's just draw on liquidity on the high time frame. So I do the analysis on the high time frame, and then based on what the high time frame is saying, it gives me where it's supposed to draw to, and then I just share it with you guys, right? So how do I determine that? I always spend time on the daily, mostly, and the weekly. That's it. I spend time on the daily and the weekly. Mostly daily. Weekly, I look at it once in a while, but mostly daily. Okay, so when I look at the daily, what am I actually looking at? I'm looking at order flow. I'm looking at who is in control. Are the buyers in control or are the sellers in control? How do I know if the buyers are in control, or how do I know if the sellers are in control? By looking at the swings on the daily. So if I know that we have a swing low on the daily here, right, then by default I'm gonna look up here and see if we have a swing high. If we have a swing high, then based on this swing low formed here and that swing high, my mind is gonna start thinking, okay, we are going to trade into premium, we are going to trade higher. Therefore, if on the 4 hour, if I can find an imbalance up here, that is going to be a draw on liquidity. Why? Because we have formed a swing low on the daily, there is a swing high, like the trade we took this morning, euro pound, Okay, we have a swing low and we have a swing high up here, and price is moving higher. So I find somewhere that price will potentially trade to, and then I trade to that level. Okay, sometimes you might find that price has just gone above a high. Let's say on the daily time frame, price has just gone above a high. When it went above the high, did it take it? So did it go above it and close, or was it just a wick? It ran it and rejected. Because if it did go above it and it rejected, then that I'm looking at that as what? A potential run above that high, and it might come back down in discount or even go and attack this low. So what do? I just drop down to the lower time frame, aka H4, and then I find some form of an imbalance or a short-term low that did not move away from a decent level. Then I target that, and if it does break above the high, let's say price goes above the swing high on the daily, and I start looking at price, and what I see is it's trying to form what? A swing high, then that to me is a potential counter trend trade, aka the pound Aussie and the pound New Zealand trade. It's gonna do what? It's gonna retrace, so I can take a sell and then target some form of an imbalance or a short-term low in here, and then once it gets there, then I can start looking for a buy. Right, you always have to pick up the narrative from the higher time frame. If your narrative is not from the higher time frame, it's very obvious that your results are not going to be consistent and you're going to struggle, because most of what you're going to do is not in line with what the high time frame is trying to do. So you're going to struggle. Maybe you might buy, like one of our members is trying to do. You might want to buy, but without being conscious about what is down here, you buy it and then you leave your stop loss there, and it stops you out. And as soon as it stops you out, boom, 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 price rallies. All right, so your high time frame, daily and weekly, should be the time frame that you always constantly watching and monitoring to see what the draw on liquidity is. Right, and I've just given you hints. Look at swings on the daily. The swings are gonna give you what price is supposed to do. Okay, if you see a swing high formed, just check and see, okay, if we formed a swing high here, is there a swing low somewhere below that high that has just been formed? If there is, it's a sign that price is gonna do what? It starts going down. So you start looking for sales. Now you can, depending on the trend, if maybe this is a lower low and we made a higher low, then it's a continuation. So you can either sell to come back down and then buy to continue going up, or wait for price to get down here and then you buy to continue going up. Okay, so to show you an example is what we did today. Okay, so we had this low formed and we had a high here. So all I did was look within that range. Inside this range, there's a gap here, there's a high here which it didn't take out properly. Right, there's also a high there within that range. So the fact that we confirmed a swing low down here means that there's a potential price is going to trade higher. Then I drop down to the lower time frame. Right, you can use H4, H1, whichever one, and then all I saw was what? a trend on the 1 hour time frame. We had this low, that high, and then price pulled back. So what's it gonna do? It's gonna go and attack this high. All this while, my eye is on this high time frame because that's where the narrative is coming from. Okay, I'm not buying on this lower time frame with a random target. Okay, my target is based off from, okay, I'm buying because I can see prices trying to push higher. Okay, so if price is trying to push higher, then I'm gonna draw down to the lower time frame and then find an entry, and that's what we did this morning. And I said, right, it's gonna take out this equal high and it's gonna potentially trade above that high. Okay, so that's one example. The other example is the pound New Zealand, right? We had 1, 2, 3, that's a swing high, and then if I look down here, that's a swing low here. So price action on the lower time frame gave me an impulse leg to the downside here, which is this one, and all I did was look for a pullback, and then I sold short, looking for price to go where? Into this range. Pound the pound Aussie, same thing. On a daily, we had 1, 2, 3, that's a swing high. So there's a high probability today is going to be what? Or there's going to be a movement to the downside to go into discount. Hence, I drop down to the lower time frame, bearish order block. You're asleep, no problem. London. Let me actually, that's my London. Right, 7 o'clock. The time for entry is here. Right, that's specific time window between 7:30 and 9. That's where we want to find an entry. Trades back to gap with the narrative already done on the high time frame. You're looking for lower prices. Gap, short-term low. Okay. The trade that I gave on pound Swiss, right? Pound Swiss, we have a swing low here. Okay, we have equal high up there. So if we have a swing low here on the daily time frame, what is price trying to do? Is it gonna go down or is it gonna go up? Narrative taken from the high time frame is gonna go up. So I drop down to the lower time frame and I do what? I find my potential entry to continue on the uptrend. Right, so with that retracement, I'm gonna buy optimal trade entry. I'm gonna buy this gap, or you're gonna buy this last down candle. Entirely up to you how you wanna slice it. Okay. Let me see if like Euro Swiss is same thing. Swing low. If it does retrace, you look for buy to continue going up. Right, it's that simple, but sometimes we complicate it and we try to do so many things, and then price ends up punishing us because we are not referring to the higher time frame. Now, where does the weekly time frame comes in? On the weekly time frame, I want to see what price is doing. Same thing. Are we closing bearish? Are we closing bullish? Where is price trying to reach for based on the weekly? But I'm always referring to the daily first, because the daily is going to give me first big view of what price is trying to do. And if I can't determine what the daily is trying to reach for, then I'll go to the weekly. Then the weekly will give me more ideas on what price is potentially going to do. But mostly it's on a daily, because that's all you need. Okay, it takes 24 hours for the day to finish, so you don't need the weekly, you just need a daily. But sometimes the daily might not give you a clear picture of what price is trying to do. Then you switch to the weekly to get a good picture of what price is trying to do. Of the week with, we would trade up here, right? And then it can go down from there. They tried it, but I couldn't. And I know why I didn't, because by the close of the day, we closed above that high, so it wasn't gonna drop. So it gave a hint that it's gonna go up today, and it did. But the second narrative that I gave was what? Anticipated to trade here. All right, anticipated to trade up there. So that's what is happening now. It's gonna trade up there. Hence I said we could trade above this high. Okay, now with that narrative, if you go on to the 5 or 15 minute time frame, you will see that they're going to respect gaps and order blocks. So if there's any gap and price retrace to it, it's a buy. If there's an order block and price retrace to it, it's a buy, because they it's like the market is fixed to go in a specific direction. Therefore your great your PD arrays, right, are gonna be effective. They're gonna respond to price. Okay, all right, that's it from me. I don't want to make this too long, because I think some people might want to watch it so that they don't have to sit through some long hours boring stuff. So I'm gonna leave the next 5 minutes. If you have any question, feel free to ask me and then I'll answer you. If you don't have any question, then that's it from me, and I will see you on Friday. Friday is going to be the same. I'll start at 8 o'clock and I'll leave at 8:30 to drop my son off to school, and then I'll come back at 9 and then we'll finish at 10. And if you want to participate in the trade ideas, just join the Telegram group link that I've shared, and you basically get the trade ideas as well. So if you have any question, feel free to ask. If not, then have a great day. Yes, there are more gaps on the downside, so it can go a bit lower more, right? I showed you it can go all the way up to here, so don't discount that, right? Don't. I specifically like that one. If I'll be honest with you, I like this one. Okay, if I want to buy, that's where I'll buy, but it makes no difference, okay? Because at the end of the day, you're looking for a buy. So whether you buy here, the only difference it will make is the risk to reward. Now, if you buy here, you get an entry. Maybe I might not get an entry, right? The difference is just going to be the risk to reward, where I get in there, and I mean you get in there and I get in here. That's the difference, the risk to reward. But we're all doing the same thing. We're all buying. And I might not get an entry because maybe price might not get there, and you will get an entry. Let's go here. Look at the dollar index. Yeah. Could it be reversal? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Could be. We'll see. We will see. Dollar CAD. There you go. Should have left something on for that one. I think it might take out this low mark, maybe a bounce first. It might bounce off from here first. Yep, I'm happy. I'm gonna go and have my tea. So enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you on Friday. All right, take care and have fun.